Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. What a day. What a day. Can it get any worse for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all of crypto? I don't know. Today was the perfect storm of so many things right on top of each other, one after another. So let's talk about all of them. And I'm going to, I know I put out a video earlier today about Ethereum. I'm going to try to answer some of the questions that I had and many of you guys have. So let's do this. Welcome, guys. I mean, it's just a bad day. Bad day. You could see Bitcoin fell down from about 22,000 down to 20,000, trying to hold on, trying to stay above 20,000, right? And it's tough. It's tough considering how much FUD happened today. Okay, first of all, the U.S. market took an absolute beating. Okay, the U.S. market took a huge beating. NASDAQ down 2%, right? We know that Silvergate's closing shop. We know that Credit Suisse, they may be in trouble as well. I covered them this morning. Guess what? We have another bank that may be going under, Silicon Valley Bank. Okay, obviously, out of Silicon Valley, turns out they are having a bank run. They are having major problems. They were down 22% today, right? I think that's the after hours, but they could be down even more. Yeah, way more. They were down 60% today, and 22% after hours. So obviously, they are in trouble. And here's the thing: they are a much bigger bank than Silvergate. I mean, look at this. Market cap still in the billions, right? Yeah, so they're having problems. Now, why people care about Silicon Valley Bank is this. They act as a traditional bank, yet they act like a VC, sort of. They give a lot of funding to tech startups that normally cannot qualify for loans or funding. So they're kind of like a half VC, half bank, right? And if they go belly up, basically tech or a lot of tech startups will simply die off without their funding, right? And of course, some of this tech includes crypto companies, right? So this is happening right now, and it's no good. And I didn't know this. I don't know how many of you guys know this, but Silicon Valley Bank is absolutely huge, huge. If they do fail, it would be the second largest bank failure in the United States, behind Washington Mutual, right? That's enormous with 307 billion in assets, and they were forced to liquidate how many billions today? Ouch, right? So that's FUD number one. We have another bank, okay, specifically for tech startups about to go under, okay? So that's absolutely huge. I'm sure we will see more about this tomorrow. And if they do go under, I don't know how many tech companies will come out and say, well, we're out of funding and we need to shut down, right? That's horrible. That's number one, okay? Number two, you have Biden. You have President Biden coming out with all these tax changes, okay? Basically, he's like, I'm going to try to save the U.S. economy up to $4 trillion, okay? And how does he plan on doing that? Well, he came out with a proposal. First of all, let's tax all billionaires 25%. Okay? Let's raise capital gains tax from 20% to 40%. So let's double capital gains tax. I'm sure all of you guys are happy about that. All the capital gains that you may have or will have with this next bull run, well, it'll be taxed at 40% rather than 20%. Not only that, he's trying to get rid of the wash trading rule, which that still exists with crypto, right? Wash trading is one of those rules that a lot of people take advantage of, and he's trying to get rid of that. But not only these things, the other thing that's very infuriating is that now he's also preparing a 30% tax on mining farms, okay? And we know all mining farms are basically dedicated to Bitcoin, right? So he's not just attacking crypto or or rich people, okay, he's also attacking Bitcoin. So now all the Bitcoin miners, right, the ones that move to the U.S., move to Texas or move to wherever, right, if this goes through and passes, well, now they have to pay a 30% tax, right, just because they run a crypto mining farm. Where did that come from, right? Like, does he expect to make trillions by taxing the crypto miners? No. So I don't even know how this got thrown in. Maybe Gensler, was in his ear or something. I don't know how this got thrown in, right? But this is definitely an attack on many fronts, okay, including Bitcoin from President Biden. And this came out all of a sudden this afternoon also, right? So not only do you have one of the biggest banks about to collapse in the United States, then you have Biden attacking everyone with his tax proposal, including Bitcoiners, right? And then you have the New York Attorney General all of a sudden coming out and saying, we're suing Kucoin, right? We're suing Kucoin, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. And also, she just declares Ethereum a security. Screw the SEC, screw the CFTC, screw any judges. I alone will determine what is a security and what is not a security, and I declare Ethereum a security. I mean, she had a case. She was building Luna and UST as securities, right? And Kucoin themselves having an earn program, which she considers security. Okay, she could have just left it at that and attacked Kucoin, but no, she decided to attack Ethereum at the same time, right? And Gary Gensler is smiling because she basically took the battle away from him. This is one battle that Gary did not want to tackle, or he would have declared Ethereum a security already. But no, because SEC is busy tackling Ripple and others, right? So he did not want any part of this, but maybe he got in her ear too and told her, hey, do me a solid and go attack Ethereum as well. I mean, just out of nowhere, right? Like, I still don't get why she decided to do that. But anyways, why she's attacking Kucoin is this. Kucoin basically offered, sold, purchased securities and commodities without being registered. Also takes a fee for its earn product, okay? And offered for sale, sold, and offered to purchase multiple cryptocurrency to and from New York, including the token for a fee. Basically, she's saying that Kucoin is operating illegally in New York without registering, and they have offered a lot of securities and commodities, okay? But specifically, what they had a problem was with ETH, and then Luna, and then that's it, really. So she actually, out of all the things she could have chosen, she chose one that turned out to be a giant fraud, and then she chose ETH, right? Why not something else? Why not FTX token, right? Or FTT? Why ETH? But anyways, the three things that I covered earlier today, three things she listed out why she believes Ethereum is a security. Number one, they had ICO. Number two, the team has too much power in terms of dictating what the project does. And three, there were some language thrown into some documents and parts of the website that indicate that maybe people thought holding Ethereum was seen as an asset and one that could grow. Okay. So, I mean, one, I would say is solid argument, although I'm here to counter it. And the second one is not solid at all. Okay. Here's the thing. The SEC right now, looking at SEC history, there's two things that the SEC goes after. Number one is whether or not you held a token offering, right? A security sale. That's number one. Number two is whether what was sold is actually security. So there's actually a difference between the two. And I'm going to show you what the difference is. But we know Ethereum did have ICO back in 2014. They had an ICO that raised $18 million, right? So they did have a token offering. They did have what's called a security sale, right? So that did happen. So just like all these other projects before that were sued by the SEC, right? If you have a legal token offering, a legal security sale, well, usually you pay a fine and then that's it, right? And you get slapped on the wrist. But the second thing that's more important is whether or not what was sold is now a security, right? And the thing is, Ethereum now, the token, ETH, is not a security, okay? Because according to how we test, right, the distributed ledger network and digital assets are fully developed and operational. Yes, it's operational. Holders of the digital assets are immediately able to use it for its tenant functionality on a network, which is to pay for gas fees. Yes, right? Digital assets creation and structure is designed to implement to meet the needs of users rather than feed speculation as to its value, right? You know, Vitalik is not pumping ETH. He's not upgrading and saying, well, this upgrade is going to add so much value, it's going to pump ETH to the moon. That's not what he's doing, right? So it's all for development of the network right now and to increase the needs of its users. And then prospect of appreciation for value in digital assets are limited. You know, no one can guarantee that, right? And with respect to digital asset referred to as virtual currency, it can be immediately used to make payments in a wide variety of contexts or act as a substitute for real currency. That means it is possible to pay for goods and services with digital assets without first having to convert it to another digital asset or real currency. Well, the thing is, though, there's a lot that constitutes this. CBDCs, for example. Bitcoin, for example, right? So this right here is kind of outdated, right, in a way, so to speak, because there's many others that can be used. There are digital assets that can be used as payments and be used to buy things, right? But that's why, you know, the Howey test and any other kind of thing that was created to measure securities doesn't really fit. It's not like it doesn't fit everything, right? It doesn't fit everything. So, you know, a lot of this stuff that well, let's just leave it at that, right? Let's just leave it at that. I do think, looking at this, yes, Ethereum had a legal token offering a security sale, but how it operates now is not a security, right? This is the reason why, and I'm not alone. It's not just my opinion. This is the reason why Ethereum was deemed a commodity by none other than the SEC themselves, okay? The SEC themselves deemed Ethereum a commodity. And that is why the CFTC even said yesterday, yes, Ethereum is a commodity, right? So that's the thing. Something that may start out as having a security sale, you may say maybe that's a security, but that does not mean that after the fact, if the token is used as utility, that is not a commodity, right? Because as of right now, the CFTC still recognizes Ethereum as a commodity. Even right now, the SEC recognizes Ethereum as a commodity. Gary Gensler did not come out and say Ethereum is security. Even though he's implying it, he did not dare to say that. And here's something else too about that ICO sale, right? Library recently was sued by the SEC. And in this judgment, the judge and even the SEC both declared that just because you have a second market offering or you sell your token in the second market does not make you a security. Okay, so that's the thing. Library was charged for having an ICO, right? And they were guilty of that, and they paid fines for that. But as they operate now, does not make them a security. So there's a big distinction between the two, right? So that's how I see it. And also the second point that New York Attorney General was making was that how Vitalik and others had too much sway, you know, too much, I guess, power to decide what's implemented and what's not. But, you know, here's the thing. Ethereum has a governance, right? You know, people vote. ETH holders can vote. There's all these EIPs, and sometimes they don't get voted through, right? So just because Vitalik and team proposes something does not mean that it just automatically implements, right? The same thing moving to proof of stake and what they're working out with the Shanghai upgrader. All this needs to be approved, right? He can't just come in and do whatever he wants. So that's the thing. Even though, yes, I mean, obviously Vitalik and the other devs, right? They have ideas, they have a roadmap that they're working towards, right? But overall, it has to be approved. So, you know, so the second notion is they have too much power. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is the whole point of decentralization, right? I think governance, decentralized governance, it's hard to define. Because even with DAOs, even with other projects, without a solid leader or anonymous leader, right? Someone is proposing the plan. Someone is pushing the agenda or pushing the roadmap. There's always someone, right? You have to have a lead developer or someone, right, that's kind of pushing things forward. So do you just all of a sudden say that, well, they have too much power and the whole project is security? No, right? So, I mean, that's really hard to define as well. But anyways, so that's kind of how I see it, right? I don't think that she has the power, and I'm talking about New York Attorney General, right, to just declare Ethereum as security without actually a judge agreeing and without consulting the other agencies, because you know what? The CFTC says Ethereum is a commodity, right? So what gives her the right to determine it's a security? And even the SEC, as it defines right now, Ethereum is a commodity, right? So I don't know. I think this is a big mess. I think the whole thing was to attack Kucoin, right? But then I don't know how she got the notion to go after Ethereum and pick a much bigger fight. And now she's picking a fight on two fronts, not just one. She could have got Kucoin really easily. Kucoin will probably, here's the thing, if you guys are worried about Kucoin right now, Kucoin will probably shut its doors immediately to New York. So if you're in New York, you're using Kucoin, you need to get out right now, because they will be shutting doors to anyone that's logging in through a New York IP pretty soon, if that hasn't already, right? So that's number one. Number two is they will probably shut down to the whole United States soon, because you know, right now they do allow U.S. residents to go in without KYC. They have been limiting how much you could withdraw and which tokens you could trade, but ultimately they are still allowing U.S. residents to go in. So most likely that'll be shut down too. So it's probably in your best interest to remove off of Kucoin if you still have crypto on there, right? So that's kind of the thing. So today was just one big cluster F, you know. We got another bank going down. You got Biden attacking crypto mining, right? You got Kucoin that's going to be shut down from the U.S. And you have Ethereum being targeted and declared a security, even though that is not set in stone, right? It's a bad day. Bad day, all right? So the only saving grace I could say is, you know what? Despite all of this, okay, you got to think, that's like a perfect storm of everything. And this is coming off the heels of Silvergate too, okay? And we're coming off the heels of FTX also before Silvergate and everything else that has happened, right? Despite everything, and this chart looking absolutely horrible, right? Despite everything, we are not back down to 15K. We're not back down to 16K, right? We are back down to 20K. And yes, it is lower than our previous 20,000 and so forth, right? But if you look at this, right, we have fallen back, but we're not down and out. And today was absolutely horrible. Horrible. You really couldn't get worse than today. Like, honestly, outside of maybe Biden saying, I'm making Bitcoin illegal in the United States, outside of something like that, you really couldn't have a worse day for crypto FUD, right? So despite all of that, we are still clinging on 20,000, right? I do believe this does not affect our current cycle, the 4-year cycle, right? Coming up from bottom and moving forward, right? And everything I've shown you guys about the fundamentals have not changed. Addresses, holders, right? Number of Bitcoin held and hodled. All these things are still where they are. They haven't changed, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum reserves coming off the exchanges is still low at multi-year low and continues to drop. So the fundamentals of Bitcoin did not change at all, right? That is the beauty. And I've been saying all the macro FUD, all the distrust in banks, right? And we're seeing many banks having problems, okay? You know what? Bitcoin is the way. Bitcoin is how we opt out of the greedy and untrustworthy banks and central banks and governments, right? And Bitcoin is the way because it's the only asset that's neutral. It's non-sovereign, not controlled by any central bank or government. And it's the one asset that the whole world could turn to, no matter how bad their situation is, right? So Bitcoin, despite everything, is still on track, still looking good from a fundamental standpoint. And as for a price standpoint, you know what? We'll take the 20,000 right now, okay? Because today was just absolutely horrible. So that's what I have to say. That's it. That's it. Let's do some Q&A. All right. All right. Got my little setup here. Craig says, this is my favorite live stream when we crash 10% or more. We haven't seen a crash like this, 10%, over 10% in quite some time now. And I can't say I enjoy it. But it happens. It happens. You know, you have to take the bad with the good. And right now there's a lot of bad. But when there's a lot of good, we will forget this and we will move forward. Like always. Tony Robbins says, I can make the market go up. It's simple. I just sell. It happens every time. Also, I'm sure it's down at the moment because I just bought. It may seem like that, okay? I think everyone has gone through periods like that where it seems like no matter what you do, the market goes and responds the opposite way you want it to, right? But, you know, you got to hang in there, continue the course, DCA. That's how you win in the long run. Benjamin, Mt. Gox is not giving out anything until October, so we got a long time before that happens. Ken Dog, it's not as easy as you think. It's a habit. I know I need to stop saying right or but, you know, it's a work in progress. Where's the Johnny Walker bottle at? I'm out, unfortunately. I'm out. I only have the cheap stuff, the black label, so I can't drink that in front of you guys. Isaac says, I'm not scared. I'm terrified but optimistic. That's good. That's good. If it wasn't for inflation, Houses would cost $65,000 and you could work at a gas station to pay for it. I mean, I'm not that old, but I still remember when it's growing up, houses were pretty cheap. Pretty cheap. Compared to now, much cheaper. Now, some of the richest towns around me, right, they were just farmland, no development, right? And you could have gotten a house for under $100,000. That's just impossible where I am now. I mean, it may be possible in some farmland area, but it is not possible by any city or any suburb in any city. I should start 5x short every stream. The 5x is not degen enough. If I was going to do it again, I'd do it like a 50x and see what happens. But no, you know what? It's okay. Don't need to do it to prove a point. You guys know how dangerous leverage is. Johnny Red next. That's even lower class than black. I have no fear. XRP is here to save crypto. What are we drinking tonight? Nothing. Nothing. I decided to not drink anything tonight. Ed says, I sold 1K of ETH to buy Bitcoin. Your thoughts? Well, it's never bad. It's never bad to buy Bitcoin, no matter what. So, obviously, I think you're a little scared of ETH, right? That's okay. If you want to buy Bitcoin, that's okay. Here's the thing. Despite all the FUD around ETH being a security, right, its 24-hour drop is still less than Bitcoin. So that's the impressive thing. You would figure Ethereum would be dropping like a rock right now over double digits because of the security thing. But I think it's this. It's not set in stone, first of all. Right, there's a lot of agencies that's probably going to have a problem with it, at least one. And two, there is a difference between having a security sale versus the token itself being a security. I think there's a huge difference there, right? But we'll see. Maybe Gary is go jump on this, right? I know Gary has enough cases on his plate. He did not want to attack Ethereum right now, but because of the New York Attorney General, maybe tomorrow we'll see Gary and the SEC suing Ethereum. That would be horrible, but this will be the opportunity to do so. Strategic wise, this will be the best time to be doing so, right? But you know, he may be losing to Ripple, so that's the thing. If he loses to Ripple, then declaring Ethereum as security would be bad because Ethereum will just use Ripple's playbook and win. James D. Appreciate it. TA, appreciate that big super sticker. And then another George, thanks for that huge super sticker. Appreciate your support, man. Show us the moon chart. I don't think I have that chart. Oh no, I do. I do have the moon chart. Oh, look at that. The moon chart is never wrong. Whenever there's a full moon, you either get a huge dump or a huge pump. So I mean we're a couple days away, but that's pretty close. That's pretty close. And look at this. We had a full moon here, and we had a big pump. But normally speaking, whenever there's a full moon, there's a big dump. I don't know why it happens on full moons. Look at this. Also on full moon, right? Look at this. Full moon. Here's one, a small drop, full moon, right? Here's a full moon where it goes up. But, you know, full moons, there's something about it. Like the whales or whoever, you know, look at this dump, full moon right here. You know, here's the bottom of a dump. Here's another dump. You know, there's something with full moons. People like to dump around full moon times. I have no idea. What's our current support level? 21.5 didn't hold. Actually, I think we're right at a support level. You look at the past here. There's a lot over here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a lot of support levels over here. So you could say we're currently at 20,000 as support level. Psychologically, it's a big support level, right? And you could see right here, right? But it could also be a little bit lower, like 19.5-ish, 19.7-ish. It's kind of hard to tell from this. But I would say this, 20,000 would be a pretty important resistance or support to hold. Now, the good thing is if you're looking at some of the short-term indicators, like the daily, you can see RSI is at the same level as when Bitcoin fell down to 15,000, right? So we're definitely oversold. You look at a 4-hour, the 4-hour has not been this oversold again since Bitcoin fell down to 15,000, right? And then you look at a 1-hour, same thing. All the short-term indicators show that Bitcoin is very oversold. As oversold as when it was 15,000, right? So despite the fact that we had an absolutely horrible day, Bitcoin, I'd say, is faring decently compared to how bad it could be with all the FUD. How does the New York Attorney General sue Kucoin, which technically doesn't operate in the U.S.? They technically don't, but they do. Because that's how they tested it. They had one of their agents sign up on Kucoin and make a trade. So they do. Yeah, what is the problem if it becomes security? That's also the thing. I forgot to cover that. So let's just say, for example, everyone agrees that Ethereum is a security. Does that mean that Ethereum is dead as a project? No, it would lose a lot of faithful followers, that's for sure. But according to this, if a cryptocurrency is a security, then crypto companies issuing them must comply with Security and Exchange Commission rules for registering and reporting. So basically, that's what it comes down to, right? Then Ethereum has to register as a company and also has to comply with all the reporting requirements as a security. So it just makes it very complicated, very costly. There's a lot of paperwork, right? And of course, a lot of crypto guys that really wants decentralization, does not want, to be part of companies. They want to be part of projects, right? It'll turn a lot of people off. But just because it is a security, if does not mean that it's the end all be all, right? But I think there's a big distinction in terms of having a security sale versus being a security. Okay, there's a big distinction because Library, this case that just ended a couple months ago, that's how it was ruled. Library had a legal token offering, but Library token itself is not a security. So think about that. But anyways, Library is going under because they just didn't have enough money to fight anymore. And after the whole case, they just gave up because they don't have enough money. Maybe they could still survive, right? But Ethereum, if they had to fight, I think they have a lot of resources, right? And I think a lot of companies would join in the fight if Ethereum really has to fight the SEC. But first things first, the New York Attorney General. If the whole system, the whole consensus in voting in Ethereum is built in, doesn't that make it a security effectively kill it if they have to keep voting on everything? I don't know. No, not really. No, just means they have to report a lot more. That's for sure. Old Saucy says 20K is not a bad price. If it does crash down 15K, just buy more. I mean, it's that simple, right? The lower it goes, the more you DCA. That's really it. This morning, someone was asking me, or actually a couple of people sent me super chats asking about this burn with Shibarium. No ratio has been determined yet. There will be Shi burning with usage, but there's no exact ratio given, right? So when it's released, there'll be more details, but just want to mention that because I said I was going to do some research into it. Will ETH moving back to proof of stake help escape the SEC? No, no, that's not in question. T-Lock, easy money. Wealth is created from the bottom. That is true. That is true. Wealth is created by buying low when other people are fearful, right, and selling high when other people are greedy. Pizza was declared security. You know, if it was up to Gary, everything would be a security, right? Like, he's making everything a security, even stablecoins a security. A stablecoin is just, you know, it's pegged to $1 and it's still labeled as security. Staking is security. I mean, pretty soon mining will be seen as security. I mean, Gary, you know, he's been talking. He's been talking for sure, spreading his, I was gonna say seed, but that sounds a little nasty. But you know what? There's still a lot to be determined, right? The case with Ripple could be ending soon. The case with Grayscale could be ending soon, and these go all end favorably for crypto, not for Gary. They lost the case against Voyager, right? They did lose this case against Library because they did want to declare Library security, and the judge said no, they're not. So, you know, the SEC is being pushed back, right? It's not just their way. And as for the New York Attorney General, again, I think she was just trying to make a case against Kucoin. I don't know why she just wanted to declare Ethereum security, but you know what? I don't think she's within her right to do that. Maybe within New York, she thinks she has rights, but it's kind of weird unless she's working with Gary. You know, maybe tomorrow SEC declares Ethereum security right after this. It's just really weird that she would go ahead and do this and try to pick a fight, or maybe she's just trying to make a name for herself. I don't know. It's wild. Out of all the things to be going after, you go after this right now? Yeah, on top of that, you got Biden attacking, you know, or trying to attack crypto miners or Bitcoin miners, right? I mean, basically it's for Bitcoin mining, right? And then you got banks left and right going under. I mean, it's just a bad, bad day. So despite everything, Bitcoin holding at 20,000, you know what? We'll take that. The fundamentals did not change. The narrative for Bitcoin did not change, right? So got to stay strong, guys. We've been through worse. We've definitely been through worse. So we'll get through this as well. I said a lot. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I need a break. I need to go bust out some alcohol or something. But you know what? Tomorrow will be another day. All right, you guys get some rest. We'll look at things again tomorrow, reevaluate. But, you know, I said my piece about Ethereum, about everything else today. So digest it, and we'll have another discussion tomorrow. All right, have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.